evening and welcome back to Between the Arcs. I'm your host this evening, The Horse, and joining me is a man who has changed his team about 300,000 times. It's a man that has finished inside the top 1% plenty of times, getting as high as into the top 25 a couple of years ago. I speak of our man Hurls. How you doing, mate?
Oh, I'm really good, mate. It's getting closer to the start of the season, which is really good. It's we've seen some trial games now and about to see some real stuff. I can't wait for this week, actually, because most teams this week are going to put out close to their best 23s or as close as they can to possible because of the real stuff starting the week after. So this would give us a bit of better indication, really, of which rookies we can trust. Which roles are going to stick or have been all talk and those kinds of things. So really looking forward to this week.
Yeah, 100%. And Cheese has just put in the chat, how many videos would we make this week if we did a video every time you change your team? There's not enough hours in the day.
No, not enough bandwidth. There's not enough views. You'll run out of time. If we can monetize every time you click the save team button in SuperCoach and we could get rich. 1 cent every time we click on that button, I'll be a very rich man. We can retire.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going through Hurls' team tonight. So if you haven't yet, like, subscribe, bell, hype, thumbs up, love it all. Listening on audio, 5-star reviews help keep the lights on here at Between the Arcs also, especially if you love a bit of banter along with your SuperCoach knowledge. So you're right, we did have a week of preseason games. They weren't sanctioned by the AFL, which is all well and good. Teams are still going to have, especially in my time as a player, I never got to that level, but you always want 2 or 3 hit-outs before you start the season so you can sort of get a feel, a bit of accustomed to your teammates, if there's new roles, chemistry, new game plans, what have you. But when we're looking at week 1, it's pretty easy to overreact, isn't it? When we're looking at players playing in roles that they may not have previously, and then we see them and we're like, oh, fuck, this might unlock a lot of cash. And then next week, things go back to normal, and then all of a sudden our plans are stuffed.
Yeah, I'm the king of overreaction, so I'm not going to hold that against anyone because I watch one game and they go, I've got to get rid of this bloke or I've got to put this guy in. But one thing I will say that I'm pretty hot on across especially next week, but both of the trial game and the community series is this is really the time to sort your rookies out. Like the primos, you should have a rough idea of, a list of 25 to 30, and you're going to pick 11 or 12 of those. So I don't necessarily look for the primos that much in my watching of these games. I've got an eye on, are they doing what I expect them to do? But I'm definitely looking for all these rookies that I've got a list miles long and trying to make sure I can cull that and think of who am I locking in.
Definitely. You're spot on, mate. This episode is going to be brought to you by Stromcrete as well. Stromcrete, if you're planning a new driveway, shed, slab, entertaining area, pathway, or anything concrete, get it done properly the first time with the team you can trust. Hit the link in the description below and tell them that the Between the Arcs boys sent you for a free quote and also 10% off any job that you get done by the lads. Now, we're here to get stuck into your team, Hurls. So without further ado, we take no notice of the projected score in the top right-hand corner, ladies and gentlemen, because while it might look nice to get it up into the 1900s, realistically, that's probably not going to happen. So I see some things that have stayed the same, but there's a little bit of difference in your backline there, Hurls.
Yeah, so a couple of different changes that have happened really as a result of this week. Yeah. Rosie and Clark haven't moved for me the whole time. So even though we joke about changing the team 10,000 times, which is true, I don't think I've taken those magnets out of my team once. So those two I've locked into those from the start. Unless there's an injury, I am not changing them. So they'll be either my D2 and D3 or D1 and D2. In this current team, they're D1 and D2. I loved the fact that we've got, and I caught a little bit of your earlier pod with Deadly around, the movers and shakers who went up in estimations and who went down over the weekend. I agree with you about Freo. I think the Luke Ryan being out of that team, might struggle to get back into that team, just makes Jordan Clark even better. So I love him as a keeper this year, and I've found a way to get my man in. Like those of you who watched me last year, and I do my episode every week showing you my team, etc. My last trade, I was tossing up who to bring in, and Blakey was one I was really keen on, and I got scared off a little bit, and it really bit me on the arse, really, because I think he averaged about 116 in the run home. Would have been a great pick. And I've struggled all preseason to find a way to get him in because of the round 3 bye, but he now finds himself into my team.
Love it. Lockie Blackiston. That's a big in, being we're both Essendon men, and we know that we've struggled in the past, which I don't like to mix my passion for the Essendon Footy Club with my SuperCoach team because I only like to be disappointed once a day, Hurls. But Lockie Blackiston, interesting, because you look at the way that he played against the Tigers and he made Nankervis look second rate. And whether that's because Nankervis now is going to suffer because of the ruck rules, or because the new ruck rules genuinely help an athletic ruckman like Blackiston who can get around the ground a bit. I'm not sure which way to look at this, but you're probably looking at someone there that with a defender status right now, come round 6, the first round of DPPs, he gets a ruck defender DPP. You could throw him around all over the place if Nick Bryan doesn't come back too soon. Or are you not worried about that?
No, I'm not, because in my estimation, Nick Bryan will probably, he's slated to come back somewhere around the round, let's call it round 5 mark. Okay. I can't see that he doesn't play at least 2 weeks in the VFL when he comes back, because he's coming off 12 months off. So I'm estimating that Nick Bryan won't even be considered for the AFL team until about round 7 or so, and that means that Blackiston gets 6 to 7, maybe 8 weeks in the ruck. This is not locked in by any stretch. This is a get out of jail pick for me. Okay. And you'll see when I get to my team later on why I've picked Blackiston. If he wasn't going to get ruck DPP, he wouldn't be in my team. For this to work, he needs to probably score 85s, thereabouts. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do it. He's not someone who I just automatically think is a lock to get that score. But when you see what I've done in my ruck line, you'll probably start to figure out why I've gone this way.
Okay. I like it. I like the thought process behind it. Sam, I know his last name is Grill, but Squiddy and I have started the thing. His surname is now Grill. So Sammy Grill there. D5Gs, he looked nice too across halfback. I know they've still got the likes of Sam Banks, and that to come back, but looks a real lively type for SuperCoach especially. And having that DPP really helps out a lot. Josh Lindsay across halfback for West Coast, while he didn't get a shit ton of the pill, he gets himself in the right spots and uses the ball pretty well. So Lockie Jakes, we had the inside word pretty early on that he was going to be playing a fairly prominent role, Hurls, and sure enough, on the weekend, he looked sure as shit down back for the Western Bulldogs. And even now with Daily Bale, being out for round 0, round 1 with that hamstring. Is it a hamstring? No, it's a knee, sorry.
Yeah.
It becomes probably even more relevant now.
Yeah. I think, he did everything you want a rookie to do in these kind of games. We'll see what happens again next week, but he looks to have good job security. He looks like he'll score okay. You don't need him to set the world on fire to be your D8, let's be honest. I think I'm pretty confident that between the barbecue, Josh Lindsay and Jakes, I'll be able to take 2 of those scores each week.
Okay.
I'm not really confident in Jai Sarong at all. If I can find somebody else to take that spot, I will. But I've got him there at the moment because I just can't find an alternative.
I would suggest being patient with Jai Sarong. So watching bits and pieces of that game, it was quite windy, and that's never going to help key defenders, key forwards. So, I would preach patience with Sarong and give him another look this week. Yeah, How is your midfield looking? Actually, before you scroll through to your midfield, sorry, I know we've got a few watching live at the moment. Our unlimited league is 436783. I repeat, 436783. It is free to enter. If you come top at the end of year, you get $250. Patreon member, Patreon subscriber, we'll double it, $500. If you get top score each week, it's a standard squeeze pack. Thanks to the guys at the standard squeeze. So 436-783, free to enter, plenty of prizes to win all season long.
Free stuff. Why not? Why not join? Even if you're not a Patreon, and look, we would love if we had everyone who's watching us tonight join up to our Patreon. I think it's $10 a month, and you get access to all sorts of articles and all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
If nothing else, you want the added bonus of trying to win $500 instead of $250. Why not? Go for it.
100%. Oh, and if you are a Patreon subscriber, you go into a special league where you can win some cash. I'm not going to state how much on air here, but also a SuperCoach Champions ring on offer. And that league is also for free as well.
Brilliant.
Do you want to scroll through your midfield, mate?
I will. So those of you who are following along will have seen already in my defense, I'm probably targeting what I call the bottom tier keepers in my defense.
Okay.
And I'm doing that because I'm targeting the top tier mids. So I'm always looking to make sure that the guys I'm spending over 500 and something thousand on, I consider to be viable keepers for the whole season. Okay. I've got 12 in this lineup. But I think you always have to pick and choose where in each line you go for, because you can't go for all of the top guys. Like if you go Wanganeen, Miller, Sinclair and Whitfield in that defense, it means you're not going to be able to go the M1, M2, M3 targets in your midfield. So I've chosen this year, from what I like, to go for a Rosie, Clark, Blakey type in my keepers in defense. But that allows me to stack up my midfield with my M1 Bont, M2 Butters, M3 Dacos, M4 Anderson, M5 Sarong. So I'm going 5 deep in my midfield. The only one of those that I am borderline whether he'll make the top 8 is Sarong. I think the other 4, I'm really confident they end top 8 this year. And Sarong, I think, could, with everything going right. And I had this chat in our Patreon with a few people during the week. For a fair bit of the weekend, I had Errol in this spot. So I love the Errol Goulden pick as well. If you've got Errol there, I would highly recommend it. I'm not trying to talk anyone out of it. What I ended up doing is, because I like Blakey so much, by going Sarong without a bye, I can go Sarong versus Errol, and I think they're in the same tier for me. Maybe Errol beats him by a little bit, but the no bye versus bye makes that okay for me. And it means I can go Blakey because I'm not going the 2 Swans with the round 3 bye with Bonds as well and Anderson. So it gets ugly in round 3 if you go Errol plus Anderson plus Bont, and then others who like English and Petrarca and Heaney and Blakey. It just gets real ugly. Yeah. So, yeah. So that's they're the ones I'm going for. Anderson is the one in that list that. And it's probably one of the few. I'm not a fixture player at all.
Okay.
I don't necessarily love picking on early fixtures, but this is my exception to that rule. I think Anderson playing West Coast and Richmond and these, their first, besides the round 3 bye, you couldn't ask for a better run for a ball magnet like Nando's.
100%. I will ask you, so as you just said, your top 5 from M1 through to M5, Bontempelli, Butters, Dacos, Nick Variety, Noah Anderson, Nando's, and Caleb Sarong. Has Will Ashcroft entered your thought process at all?
No, he hasn't. I'll tell you who has, his teammate. I really wish I could find a spot for the suitcase. I think he's being slept on massively. I think structure dictates this, though. So when I say Will Ashcroft hasn't entered my thoughts, for the first time maybe in the last 4 years, I am really heavily guns and rooks this year. Like you'll see that I'm like so far, I've got, I mean, the only mid-pricer is the guy we'll talk about next is Darcy Parish. And because I'm guns and rooks, that means I'm less inclined to want a guy like Will Ashcroft than if I was looking for value all over the place. But I don't hate the pick. It just hasn't ever set. He just hasn't sort of mixed in with my structure at all.
When we're talking about SuperCoach team reveals, there are players in and amongst the SuperCoach community that get brought up regularly. Your Rosies, your Butters, these sorts of players. Darcy Parish even's in a lot of percentage of teams, 68%, I think, at last check that I had. This is the first team that I've seen in quite a long time with no Hayden Young.
He's been in my team a lot. He only went out of my team probably this week, and nothing really that he did that was bad. What I did see though in the trial game, and it's just a watch again for this week, he spent more time up forward than I was hoping. So I thought the forward split was more, let's call it a 60-40, 50-50 than what I was hoping for. Now, I think he's still value. I think whoever picks him is going to be okay. I think you can average the 95 to 105 range that you need from his price tag. I've just chosen, when I was trying to do all of my my guns to get the 12 keepers in, I figured that his teammate Sarong was going to be better for my structure than him, to allow me that guy who I think Sarong, if he does everything right like the year before, and some people got burnt with Sarong last year. Again, another one of the chats we had in our Discord a lot this week. Those who had Sarong last year were really disappointed. I think there's a big difference in paying $620 for someone and getting 105 like he did last year versus paying $570 for someone that might get 105 to 110. I think there's more upside in his price now than those who were burnt last year who didn't like the Sarong experience, put it that way.
Yep. So we'll go through the rest of midfield. Darcy Parish, noted to speak about him. Willem Dersma's entered your side. We'll speak about him in a sec. Jacob Smith, no surprise there. Jacob Farrow, no surprise there. He looked as clean as it comes for a rookie across half-back. Will Brodie and Artie Jones has made his way into M11. We'll discuss him later. But Willem Dersma, I, for one, I wouldn't say a critic of his, but I'd say output for Dersma with his price tag versus, let's say, a Will Brodie. But if Will Brodie had job security, I'd rather go and spend that 80K less for someone that I think could average similar. That's probably a pretty bad example because I actually think Will Brodie will average more than Willem Dersma this year in SuperCoach. But how comfortable do you feel spending top dollar for a rookie when we know how inconsistent they can be?
Not comfortable at all. And whether he stays in my team, I'm not sure. Those who saw my last team reveal, I think the last time I showed it, I would have had Dan Annable in that spot. And so Dan Annable became Dersma with, I think, the little bit of cash that I had sitting around. It's just a placeholder for now, though.
Okay.
In a Guns and Rooks setup, I am really relying on my rookies to, bridge the gap. I don't have the stepping stones that I would normally have if you had 5 mid-prices. So if you've got a Hayden Young, if you've got a maybe McKercher, if you want to call him that, if you've got a Bergman, if you've got a Lawler in the forward line, these mid-prices, they only need to make you the 70, 80K, and then the fallen primos drop 70 to 80K to give you a net plus 150. In my structure, going for max points and the uber primo midfield, I need my rookies to be in my team longer and make more cash. And so at the moment, I've tried to structure it up with Dersma, Grill, Farrow, and
Job
these
security.
types. Yeah, with job security, with the ability to potentially outperform. Like, remember last year we were all worried about Levi Ashcroft for the same reason, and he made 200K. Like, these guys, if they work, can make 200, but there is huge risk that they don't work. But I was really impressed with what I saw of him on the weekend, I must say.
From all reports, I didn't watch too much, but by all reports, he was pretty nice. Artie Jones was also someone that was pretty nice, playing on the wing, kicking 3 goals, having 20-odd touches. A placeholder for now until we see how he works in with their full-strength side?
Yeah, here's my wishful thinking. I would really love a mid-forward in that M11 spot. So at the moment, you'll see I've got him and I've got another mid-forward in my forward line. I don't know if either of them last. I just saw enough in that first trial game to see whether they can make it. I would love it. I would love a forward swing there if I can work it out. But yeah, Artie Jones has proven in years gone by he can get 20s, right? So I'm not confident that he stays. But at the moment, I've just put that there as a bit of a. I'd love to find a forward. The other one who I have had in there a bit. So my M11 has been Artie Jones. It's been Rechko a little bit. It's also been Chase Jones a little bit. I was impressed with his wing time, and he's a little bit older. He's not an 18-year-old kid either.
He's played it in the past as well.
Yeah, if he can play that wing role for Adelaide for 7 or 8 weeks, he's someone I'm considering as well. But he doesn't have the forward flexibility, so he's just out at the moment.
I love it. Your rucks are going to be brought to the people at home by Yogi Frozen Yogurt. A fresh, fun, vibrant new treat in the heart of central Victoria. They offer self-serve frozen yogurt, refreshing acai bowls, and endless toppings. Head down and visit to enjoy great flavors, friendly faces, and plenty of chilled vibes. Rob and Tamara do a ripping job there. Mention Between the Arcs, and they'll give you a bit of a discount there as well.
And if someone goes in and says acai bowls, will they get an extra discount? Because I reckon that sounds fantastic.
Oh, I got no fucking idea how to say it. I've just been doing what I'm told to do.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue. But if that's pronounced incorrectly and we get people going in, surely they'll chuck in an extra 5% off. That'd be hilarious.
I got no idea. Maybe if it was called Zinger Box, I'd have it down pat. But anyway, let's go through to your rucks, mate. What do you got?
This is disgusting. I can't believe this is what my ruck line looks like. I've been arguing with people in the Discord for weeks about potentially doing this, and I've somehow found myself punting R2. So I shout out to our mate Shaq, who's been telling everyone to go no rucks for the year, and I argued with him and said don't do it, and I've now currently got McAndrew in R2. I don't know if I'll have the guts to keep it that way. I think Jackson is the lock of all locks for me. He was the one ruck on the weekend that he's going to get disposals. He's going to get multiple scoring avenues, and that's why I think he is the number one ruck for me. McAndrew is in there at the moment. I mean, obviously, there's a few things have to happen here. He has to firstly get the number one ruck role solo over Rob in the Adelaide team, which at the moment he looks like his favourite for. So we'll see if that plays out. But you'll notice the other thing that I've done, and this is where I was saying before, I've got a 3-man handcuff, if you want to call it that. Blackiston and McAndrew are 2 of the 3, and the third one's in my forward line that I'll show you in a minute. If there's a couple of ifs have to happen. McAndrew has to look like he's got solo ruck. Blackiston has to look like he's competitive against TDK this week. Because if either of these things don't happen, this won't hold in my team. I will ditch both of them, and I'll change one of my forwards as well, and I'll go back to a Tim English. So for the time being, I'm punting R2 with the get-out-of-jail card of Blackiston after round 6 being flexible to put into that spot if it goes to shit.
Very interesting.
To be honest, the one that I'm even less excited about out of these 3 is bloody Liam Reedy. How are we going to hold him at R3? I don't know. He looked terrible.
He looked worse than terrible.
Yeah.
He looked like a genuine Rory Lobb type cone type areas. Didn't really like what he brought to the Carlton Footy Club there. Hopefully it was just first game nerves or just getting acclimatized to the structure and environment that is the Carlton Footy Club. But if there's another ordinary showing this week, then I don't like it. I really don't. Yeah, and even Shitnet played all right.
Yep. I was impressed with his game. Look.
That's big of you to say, Hurls.
Look, I think maybe I was impressed with it because I saw Reedy and thought, gee, they can't go with that bloke. It's just not going to happen. The challenge is, let's say Blackiston goes okay this week. McAndrew looks like he's got the number one ruck. I tossed up the idea. A few people have said, do you just go, instead of Reedy, do you go Kalani White and punt R3? I don't think I could punt R3 completely in this structure where I'm already taking a huge gamble at R2. I think the option for me, with the only way Reedy would be out would be if I go back to an English at R2 and then McAndrew becomes my R3. That's probably how that would change. Because otherwise I don't want, even though Reedy I don't rate, if there was an injury to Shitnet, he is their number one ruck, right? So it does give you that kind of insurance policy. I hate it, but I don't know. There's not really any other alternatives.
You're right. Move through to your forward line, mate.
Forward line. Let's do it. So,
ooh, I like this.
Yeah, F1's no surprise. Sheasel, everyone's got him. F3's no surprise. Flanders, everyone's got him. But here's my third. Here's my third of my handcuffs. So these positions are all interdependent. If Blackiston works and McAndrew works, then I'm absolutely starting Thilthorpe, the thriller, at F2. If I have to go back to an English at R2, then thriller will be where I'll make that concession. So it will be Blackiston out, McAndrew out. Sorry, McAndrew to R3 and Thilthorpe out, and then I'll have to decide what do I do here in my F2 or 3 spot. Now, there's two things that could happen for this to play out and thriller not survive. Either I get really excited about a rookie in the forward line that tells me I can go 4 rooks on field, because at the moment I don't think I can trust that. I've got Philippou, Cook and Robertson on field with Lombard and Al-Ashkar on the bench at the moment. If I think that I can play 4 rooks, then I'd probably take Thriller out, go back to Tim English in ruck, take Blackiston out and go down there as well and just shuffle the deck chairs that way. So these are all like handcuffs. And so what I'm trying to do is explain to people how there's certain spots in your team that you should group together. And when you're starting to make changes, you don't change your whole team. Like I've got this thread that I'll pull and it'll be these 3 spots that change. But most of the rest of my team is likely to stay very similar to this structure.
I just had a bit of a thought cross my mind, and tell me if I'm crazy or not, but I'm going to say it out aloud on the go here, Hurls.
Yep.
There's, with that between the arcs rule, so there's going to be less stoppages in and around the ground or in between the arcs.
Yep.
Ball ups, we'll still get a few of them. That's fine. But if he chops out in the ruck a little bit, and then there's a lot more stoppages inside forward 50, and there's less in between the arcs, is there a chance that he could get to 25, 30% when they're talking ruck contests and then be eligible for a DPP? Or do you think that's too much wishful thinking, so to speak?
Yeah, I wouldn't plan for it, just because no matter whether they go Rob or whether they go McAndrew, I think Thriller's still going to be the part-timer, so it's probably a 20% kind of split. So I don't think he'll get the DPP, but I do think he'll get that 20%, which makes him and Darcy both viable, right? And
absolutely,
the difference between the two is no chance in hell I can go another round three primo. So I can't go Darcy. He's got to be an upgrade target for me later. Whereas Thriller works for me, and I've managed to get my round 12 buy in control a little bit. I've still got 5 primos, which is the max I will ever go. So I could work it out with Thriller, but I couldn't work it out with Darcy.
I like it. Flanders, Pooh, both looked really good on the weekend. Braden Cook.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Lovely leg on him. Deadly and I spoke about him earlier today. And if he gets locked into a half-back wing role, the wing's probably not as good, but a half-back role with the leg that he has, it's not too far-fetched to think that this guy couldn't average 70.
No, I agree. And so this is the other one where I had Artie Jones as the swing with this bloke. So these are the other 2 roles that I would love to get 2 rookies that are mid-forward eligible to be able to swing and have maximum flexibility here. Cook looked the best of them for me so far. I think Adelaide have got, they've got some injuries. They got Cumming that is injured, not so much long-term, but I think he might miss a week or 2 at the start. They obviously had the other young bloke, Curtin, got injured and is out for most of the year. So their 2 wings from last year are not necessarily there from the start. So it's given Cook and Chase Jones some opportunity. Now, whether they stay there or not, I don't know yet. So I want to see next week what it looks like again and whether they're still in the team. But he looked good enough for me at that spot to pay a little premium. 158 is a bit awkward for a rookie, but the mid-forward swing, if I can get 2 of them, I don't mind that little premium for that advantage.
For sure. Devin Robertson looked really good on the weekend.
Yeah.
I would happily play him on field. Leo Lombard the same. And Hassan El Akhtar.
Yeah, he's
looked really lively.
He's very lively. I think he plays. I think people are getting a little nervous. And I must admit, I am a little bit nervous about these small forwards. So if you count Artie Jones as well, there's 3 small forwards in the team, which I don't love. But I think Lombard has great job security. I think Alashkar has great job security.
Lombard probably plays further up the ground, I reckon.
Plays a little higher as well.
He
agree with that.
Fit. Looks really fit.
Agree with that. And the thing that I'll just call out with Huss, that people who are nervous of what Kako did last year, I plugged in during the weeks. What does Alashkar's price get to after 8 weeks if he scores Kako's last year's scores? So I don't anticipate he's going to do anything great. I don't think he's going to be some kind of miraculous, small forward who breaks trends or anything. But Kako was pretty underwhelming for the first 8 weeks last year. And plugging those exact numbers into Huss's price, he makes 130K. So that gave me real confidence that if he's in the team, he's going to do his job.
Definitely.
But I don't want to rely on him on field. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. Your flex, mate. Where have you gone to with your flex?
Again, for maximum flexibility, my flex is Zeke at the moment. So I've got the barbecue, I've got Farrow, and I've got Zeke Hewland to be able to plug through those 3 lines. And I've got Cook and I've got Artie Jones to plug through the mid-forward lines. And then eventually, hopefully, Blackiston as a ruck flexibility as well. So I've tried to build in as much flexibility as I could early. I think that's really important. Whether that's viable when we get to round 0 and see the games and whether these guys are still there, I don't know. Zeke was underwhelming. There's a few comments coming through that are saying, Zeke wasn't any good. He was poor. I agree. For 199K on that one game, you wouldn't buy him. But let's see what happens this week. Yeah,
first game, it was humid. It was wet.
Let's see what happens this week before we jump at shadows and stuff. And at the moment, you can go down 199K bloke. You can go down to any other rookie. I've got my eye on a few others. I hate
Dyson
to
Sharp.
first. We'll talk about him in a second. The other one that I've got my eye on that is that's a similar price that I think the Hawthorn people in the community are really, really coy on this bloke, and they don't want anyone mentioning his name. But Sam Butler, I have my eye on for that spot as well. He's about 190K as well. He's someone that I like. And I think every Hawthorn supporter that I know keeps, as you see in chat, people starting to say, "Shut up! Don't mention him. Don't let the cat out of the bag." I think he's one that I've just got my eye on and could come in as well.
Why do you think they're keeping it quiet?
Because they want him for themselves.
Okay,
that's I think he's 1% owned or something like that. So they think that nobody's noticed, and I don't think there's been too many content creators spruiking him. I'm not saying I'm buying him. I'm just saying I'm watching him again this week. He looked really good late last year in the finals. He looked really good again in the trial game against Geelong. If he looks good again in round 0 and next week's community series, I don't know if I'll be able to avoid bringing him in.
Yeah, well, I guess I know what you mean. Hawthorn haven't really mentioned much about that Hawthorn player, Zach Merritt, either, have they?
No. Do you want me to talk about Dyson Sharp, though?
Yes, please.
He's a huge omission from my team. I'm not saying he won't be there, because very likely that one of, the Artie Joneses or Cook or Dersma I don't trust, and that will be like Dersma down to Sharp is my most obvious move if I don't think that Dersma is going to be, anything special at 200K.
Okay.
I am a little concerned, though, and I want to temper everyone's expectations on Dyson Sharp. At 150,000, I think he's got great job security, but I think he's got a half-forward flank role, and I think he handballs more than he kicks. And I think that from a SuperCoach point of view, as an Essendon fan, I love Dyson Sharp. I love what he's going to bring this year. As a SuperCoach, I'm not as sort of bullish on him as many others might be.
Interesting. Would you like to zoom out so we can go through your team?
Yeah, sure.
Especially for those that are on audio, so they can get a bit of an idea as to what your team looks like. And we're starting from the back line here. Connor Rosé, Jordan Clark, Nick Blakey, the Lizard, Lockie Blackiston, Sam Grill, Josh Lindsay, Jai Sarong, and Liam Jakes. Marcus Bontempelli, Zach Butters, Nick Dacos, Noah Anderson, Caleb Sarong, Darcy Parish, Willem Dersma, Jaeger Smith, Jacob Farrow, Will Brody, and Artie Jones. Is it Arthur Jones? I think it is Arthur Jones.
It's Arthur, but they call him Artie.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll go with his government name. Jackson, Lockie McAndrew at R2 with Liam Reedy at R3. Sheasel, Thriller at F2. Love to see it. Sam Flanders, Matthias Philippou, Braden Cook, Devin Robinson, Leo Lombard, Hassan Alakha, and Zeke Euland. Did I get Jakes' name wrong? Is it Liam Jakes?
I think you said Liam a few times. Okay. I think it's Lockie, isn't it?
Okay.
Yeah, it's Lockie.
It is
Lockie Jakes. It's okay. When I type it up, I always put a C before the Q as well, and I'm not sure why that always happens.
Yeah, that's all right. Lucky you pulled me up now before I get all the hate comments in the comments when the video finishes, Hurls. But
oh, good.
Let's get into some questions, mate, and let's see what the good people in the chat are saying.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
Ollie says that he's definitely changed his team 10 times a day already. Don't blame you, mate. But Deadly's actually got a serious question.
That's something different.
Yeah, I know. I've got to take a second here. Might have a little bit of water beforehand. What would you need CDT to average to be happy with him?
Can I do something? When you picked up that glass of water, I thought you were going to try to say the barbecue's name and add a little bit of audio effect. But anyway, no, I'll go to the question. I don't love key forwards. The swing with him instead of Cook, for example, was something I considered because I could then go, all right, you got Reedy, CDT, you got a backup for McAndrew. He's probably got good job security. I want to say 65. 65 is probably not enough to be really comfortable with the pick, but the flexibility it brings, probably 60 to 65 is enough. But does he get that? I can see some 20s in that West Coast team. He's going to get 20% ruck time, not any more than that, I don't think. Mm-hmm. Maybe 25. And the ball's going to be, when the ball does come in forward, there's going to be a lot of W train. There's going to be a lot of Shanahan. Then there's going to be him as well competing for the same ball. I can see a lot of 30s. So I'm not in love with the CDT pick, but I loved what I saw of him in that trial game. I think he's going to be a gun. I'm not questioning that. I'm just for a SuperCoach pick at 190K, I'm worried he'll get too many 30s.
DJ wants to know how close was Hayden Young to staying in your team, Hurls?
Yeah, he's still a possibility. So a few of these threads that I'm talking about could mean that Young ends up back in my team at some point. Like, for example, if I have to take Blackiston out and I take Thriller out, and that means English probably comes back for me. English is the R2 if I go back to a genuine 2 rucks, then I probably need to find a couple of dollars. So maybe Sarong has to become Young. So just that's probably where my head's at from a couple of those threads. That means I'll go to an 11 keeper structure with Young, Parish, and that kind of approach. At the moment, I've got a 12 keeper structure. So just every change from here is a domino. It creates a chain reaction of other changes in your team. Some I'll be calling them tonight handcuffs, but everyone knows that that certain positions in your team are almost like couples. If you move one, you have to move the other.
That's right. Ian, thoughts on Chase Jones keeping a place in the Crows team? Well, he played wing full time 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and
good shout.
Yep, I actually don't mind the shout, and especially at a bargain price. Especially if we see him again this weekend. Frank Spiteri, Frankie, with Matt Rao out. I think Anderson may get tagged, and I think that Frankie's bang on the money.
Frankie, g'day. I'm not worried too much about tags. From what I've seen of footy so far, good luck tagging. You're going to get caught in transition big time if you have taggers this year. The footy's too quick. The ball's moving end to end too much. If you want to run someone with Anderson, it's going to stuff your structure up. I don't see many tags happening personally.
What are we looking at here? Sam Allen, what are your thoughts with Dawson this year compared to other mids without the bye? Brayshaw and Sarong.
Dawson's difficult because when you first look at the mids who don't have an early bye, Dawson is a great option. And then when you realise he has the round 12 bye that's shared with Port Adelaide, with North Melbourne, with Gold Coast in round 12? No, there's one other team, Adelaide, North, Port Adelaide, and someone. That becomes a nightmare in your round 12. So every time, and that's why Thriller is sort of on the fence for me as well, because you can't have too many on that bye either. So it makes it difficult.
Mm-hmm. Turner's long hair.
He's still a good pick though. Sorry.
Definitely. Yeah, right. McDonald more midfield time this year, and I would suggest he's talking about Connor McDonald.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. I really liked C-Mac. I liked the game he played, but I think like we see with Hawthorn a lot, there's going to be a different one of them every week. Like Ginnivan didn't play. You've got C-Mac. You've got Moore. You've got Wizard running up through that high half forward midfield / roll as well. I just think there's going to be weeks where C-Mac gets 110, and then there's going to be weeks where he doesn't get used at all and he gets 40. That might be about him.
Shane, nice 1,000-point team. Shane, thank you for tuning in. You are absolutely entitled to your wrong opinion. Cheers.
I'll be happy to get 1,000. That's okay.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're aiming for? 1,000?
This is EPL, isn't it? I'd be winning a comp. Yeah.
I think just on the points that I'll take away from the flippant comment and just talk to people. The number you're trying to get in the first 6 or 7 weeks is about 2,100. Yeah, is that what we have to do? We're old, of course. If we start doing this, people will tune out. The number you have to get to be in the pack is about 2,100 average, which is bloody difficult. So my take this year is to go those uber primo midfielders to do the bulk of my scoring. Mm-hmm. I don't know if it's going to work, but that's my theory anyway.
CPXPA. Do we rate Sam Walsh as a pick? Yes. First preseason for a while he's been healthy, or do I spend up an extra 20K for Goulden?
I
like Walsh.
I don't mind Sam Walsh. I think he's loved.
2 bye.
He does have the round 2 bye. He's loved by some in the community, and I've seen a lot of content creators say Walsh was nearly the first picked, and then he's ignored completely. I think if he fits your structure, I've got no issue with Walsh. I think he's going to be a good scorer. He's got some injury risk, but I don't take much notice of injury risk to start the year. If he's fit, he plays round 0, and then you want to pick him for round 1. I don't hate the pick, even though I hate the club.
Yep. Carton. Mass wants to say Lockie Jacks, according to Bond. Yeah, even the great ones get his name wrong.
All right. I've got no idea what his name is. I just hope he scores 65s a week and makes us 200K. Then he can call himself whatever he wants.
A couple more comments before we knock off for the evening. If Clary is named round 1, I think he will go huge this year. What are your thoughts? Massive pod. This is absolute risk versus reward, Hurls. He's got the likes of O'Halloran, Rouston, however you want to pronounce his name, Canilio when healthy. He doesn't have much help there, which to me means that he's going to have the bulk of the CBAs and the in and under work, and he's at a club that he wants to be at now. Like last couple of years with the Heidelberg doctor and all that sort of shit, he's had the mental health issues. He's had the issues off field. Now that he's at a place where he wants to play footy and he's in an environment where he feels comfortable and probably feels valued as well, because they're going to need to rely on him, there's a chance he could go really well.
Yeah. I don't love the Clary pick, but I'll put it this way. If you are looking for a mid-price madness team, he'd probably be in it because he presents some value. I can see the upside and all of that. If you're looking for keepers, I wouldn't be counting Clary. because for a start, I don't think he'll be the highest averaging giant, let alone in the top 8 mids. I think once Finn Callaghan comes back, it's Finn Callaghan's midfield. And, you know, we don't know how long he'll be out for. It's a hip flexor that he might be in round 1, Finn Callaghan, and then he'll be back on everyone's lips. So I don't love the pick because I don't think Clary's a keeper. But if I was going complete mid-price madness, then that pick is understandable because he presents some value.
And Cheese, last comment here. Xavier Lindsay at halfback, any interest?
Not for me, because there's Xavier Lindsay at halfback, then they've pushed Windsor into the middle, and I just can't get a read on what they're doing here. He looked okay to the eye in that practice game, but his disposals were very ordinary. It was 12 disposals or something, wasn't it? I can't see it working, that pick. I can see that being a Harry Perryman type. We're looking for too much perfection to go right for that pick to work. I'd be more inclined if I was picking one of those Melbourne blokes to take a punt on Windsor, who again I found a bit underwhelming in that trial game. But if I was going to go one of the two, I'd probably go Windsor, but I'm not interested in either of them personally. I get it. It's a change in role. He's a young bloke. They're going to invest in him. He's got good job security. So I'm not saying I hate it, but it's just not one I love.
Spot on. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for Hurls' team. Hurls, where can they find you if they'd like to discuss footy with you?
Probably Twitter. The conversations have been fantastic. I've loved some of Secco and Flanders' work, and people getting very upset because we don't think that Sherry is a good starting pick, and people getting confused with our views about Sherry being a starting pick and not being a good player. And we're not saying he's not a good player at all. That's not the intent. So you can come and argue on there. You can see us on here. I'll usually be doing a Monday night team reveal, so we'll keep this going. Maybe not. I don't know if we'll do it next week because I think we've got our draft next week, also for one of our drafts. But the week after we'll be on for the actual season team reveal, the Monday night. So that'll be after round 0, before round 1, and then we'll keep these going every Monday night. And I'll also be on a few of the Sundays and Wednesdays, I'm sure, when we do our previews and reviews and those kinds of fun things throughout the year. So yeah, come and say g'day in here on the lives or on Twitter or in our Patreon, even better, if you want to talk all the time. Funnily enough, I got the most, what do they call it? You get levels in this Discord.
Yeah.
Discord now. I got up to the highest level in the quickest time. That's not surprising because I talk too much crap. So you can come and talk to me on there.
I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for today. This has been Hurls' team. Remember, it's okay not to be okay, and it's not weak to speak. So if you're struggling at home, if you're feeling a little bit down, reach out to a loved one, reach out to a friend, reach out to a family member, reach out to us. Our inboxes are always open. It's okay not to be okay, and it's not weak to speak. Please remember that. For tonight, that's us. We'll be back tomorrow night with some more content. What that is, you're just going to have to wait and see. But until then, peace.